So you mentioned some regret for before from Videology. Can you talk more about that? Like what would you do different as an entrepreneur?
I would first thing that I would do is I would move not to London but to America. The content I would have still been able to get. I thought, well, that's where all the production companies, all the record labels at the moment, or the ones that are making a difference are. But I should have gone where the tech investors were, and that was Silicon Valley at that point. So that's one thing. What else?
But you wouldn't know that though. At that point, Silicon Valley wasn't that big, was it?
No, but I should have done the homework that I did connecting into the world to get the right content.
Okay. Yeah.
Why? Because that made sense. That was my world as a filmmaker and as someone who enjoys music.
Yeah.
So, that was something that I organically knew how to do my homework for, but startup entrepreneurship. My parents are no entrepreneurs. I came out of an art school, not a business school, or not anything. So I was just not. There's just no experience there. I had an idea, and I wanted to make the idea, but I had no idea of how to make it into a business. So I tried. I mean, to my credit, there was just no business model for this type of thing at the time.
Yeah,
So
it's new. Yeah.
Another 2 years.
Yeah.
Before they can even come close to their acquisition price. I think 3 years. I think 2012 was the first year that they started to make some decent return.
Yeah, because you didn't have a successful example before you to follow or something, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and there was just no business model. Or revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about something more cheerful, shall we?
I regret nothing.
Okay.
A lot of things at cost time and energy.
Okay.
But I think of it very fondly.
Right.
I just would have wished that I could have made it into a bit more of a conventional success.
Yeah.
As a company.
Yeah. So how is Shenzhen? How is all the production going? Humid. Okay. Is it because of the air? Is it because of the mist?
The season is coming up, and I struggle with it.
Oh.
Yeah. From October to let's say April.
Yeah.
It's very nice actually, the climate. But then once we start to hit May and June and August.
Yeah, it's so close to the ocean, man. Yeah, Hong Kong is the same thing, so it's the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I tend to fly into, especially the first year. I didn't have a long-term visa yet, so I'd go back and forth between London and Shenzhen. I would always come into Hong Kong.
Oh, that's nice.
I spent some time there as well.
Cool.
But how is Shenzhen? For me, it's the only place to be if I want to make this product at this price. And I noticed that in terms of manufacturing, it's incredible.
Yeah.
But the startup culture and the lifestyle that comes with it, the things that I was used to. For example, one of the hardest things for me was that as a startup that's bootstrapping, pre-seed, pre-revenue, in London it was easy for me to attract freelancers. And then we would work, project to project, and then when we had some new capital, then we would push forward, and then I was able to easily control the dynamic of my budget. Whereas I thought, well, I arrive here, and then we would have to do the final stages of the prototyping, and then go into design for manufacturing, and then push it towards manufacturing. So I thought, well, I'll do the same thing. I'll have a skeleton crew, me as the lead designer, and then get an assistant here, and we get an office, and then I get a bunch of engineers and freelancers part-time. And I realized that culture just does not exist here in the same way. It was very hard for me to find freelancers. People are just not very interested. The trade-off that I think a lot of people in the West that comes with this culture of freelancing and of entrepreneurship is that the trade-off is you get more freedom, but maybe for a little bit less financial security. It doesn't mean that sometimes you can earn a lot, but financial security is just different. And I feel here people are just not either not ready or interested yet for that type of lifestyle. And only with the very young people. So I ended up working with a few interns here over the past 2 years. And that's the first generation where I see this
spirit.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it will evolve.
Yeah.
To something similar. But it is not a common culture yet.
Oh, interesting. Because yeah. The thing is, because I travel between Hong Kong and Shenzhen just for the SAP Weekend, I've seen that in terms of entrepreneurship culture, I've seen that in Shenzhen people more than in Hong Kong people. So
entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the spirit, but maybe it's only in SAP Weekend, is it? Yeah. So
I feel young, and I think there's a huge generation gap.
Yeah.
Between anyone under 30 and anyone over 30.
Yeah.
In China at the moment, and if you reference it to an historical timeline, it also makes sense, because everyone over 30 still stems from what was the Cultural Revolution, because you have certain things that come with certain generations, and then you have a whole system that's based on education and everything, economy. And then anyone under 30 is the first generation that has been raised under a different style. And I feel that is something that if you would compare it in the West, it would be something in the late 60s, had this very, very big turmoil culturally between this young generation that wanted to get rid of all restrictions and then all conventions, and were conflicting with the bell here.
No problem.
So I feel that there's a huge generation conflict at the moment, but that is always an interesting time to be, and I think that's where a lot of the entrepreneurship comes from.
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurship usually. Sorry, I'm just gonna plug this line back in.
No problem.
Because entrepreneurship is usually you're finding a solution to a problem. And so a time where there's a generational conflict is a time where there's a need for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for change.
I feel maybe Hong Kong is especially coming from London, from the UK. I didn't think Hong Kong was very different to where I came from. If you want to say, of course, it's extremely different, but it is also interestingly similar, because of course it had 100 years of connection with the UK.
Yeah.
So if you want to set up a business, for example, in Hong Kong, it's exactly the same as if you're setting up a business.
Yeah, it's kind of similar in that way, especially with the laws as well. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So structurally, it was surprisingly similar.
Yeah. So do you think there's still a lot of opportunity in China? I mean, in Shenzhen?
Yes. Yeah. And it's not because some engineers or some culture is not on par. I'm also, I was lucky to do this in London, and if I compare the London dynamic to Belgium, where I come from, I'll probably run into the same issues or similar issues. So it's not necessarily Shenzhen or China that isn't ready. It's just that London is so much more advanced, and you have those places that attract those type of people. For reasons that Los Angeles, San Francisco also attracts different type of people. So I feel that it's something that will definitely, it's like the slingshot effect, and I do feel that Shenzhen is well on its way to join the next generation of entrepreneurs.
Interesting. So you mentioned that you follow a lot of trends in terms of ideas, right? So what do you? Yeah. So what do you think would be like some good business idea coming up forward in 2020?
Well, I've always been a gut feeling person. So if there's no story, if there's no reason to start a business, I don't see the point. So I mean, there's always trends. There's applications are obviously now a thing that everyone, if you're into tech, and then tech in itself, like if you look at, for example, the investment that is being made in hardware versus the investment that's being made in tech, the valuation of a tech company is 10 times the valuation of a hardware company.
Yeah.
But obviously the question is, how long is that going to last and where is it going to go? If companies like Uber or Twitter are still not making any profit or still not coming anywhere close to their valuation. So, you cannot look into the future. However, now we have, the whole Corona situation where there's gonna be a lot of changes coming out of this situation.
Definitely.
And currently everyone's focusing almost on this, like the current startup weekend was COVID, and then a lot of ideas will come out of it and sort of pivot into. I recently on LinkedIn saw that the previous crisis, which was the 2008 crisis, was the crisis that spawned Airbnb, Uber, all the unicorns now. So if that's a projection for the future, then we'll probably see the new wave of entrepreneurs coming out of this crisis. That's a possibility. What else? My personal view is that if you can take one step out of the equation, we all have busy lives. We are the generation, and I'm speaking in a large term. We are the generation that is overwhelmed by information. So we're the first generation that has to curate the information, whereas previously you wanted to have access to more information. So every idea that can make our life a little bit easier or take one step out of the equation, every service that offers us a little bit of peace of mind because we are so overwhelmed and so short for time on a daily basis, will probably be successful and welcomed and that will, I mean, Uber, Airbnb, a lot of service apps are the main example of some of these things. But I see that's still something that will last for a while.
Interesting. Following is just a few entrepreneurs question. What should entrepreneurs never do? Takes time, I know.
Stop being an entrepreneur.
Stop being an entrepreneur. Okay, that's a very good answer. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, what makes you roll your eyes every time you hear it? Is there anything that people always say to you that you feel like, it doesn't make sense? Yeah.
You can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's impossible.
Oh, that's a very good answer.
This is my current. Public examples are Elon Musk and some other tall trees that catch a lot of wind.
Yeah.
But if I look currently, I don't know how many people came out saying that what I'm trying to make is impossible for a startup to make because it's never been done by a small company. The last camera startup was in the mid-90s somewhere in Japan and failed. And they might be right. Maybe they are, but it does make them. Sometimes that's also where you get the fuel.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need a little push or a little challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, little naysayer to be like, get in your way, and then you want to
prove them wrong.
Yeah.
It's not just, it's not in a Donald Trump way that.
Yeah, I know.
But as an entrepreneur, you the reason why you're doing everything that you're doing is because you're wholly convinced that your idea has a potential and can be successful. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. So sometimes those people challenging you are the people that also, if they don't kill you, they make you stronger.
Yeah.
But there's a risk that they
have the tech. Yeah.
That they get the better of you, of course.
Yeah. So name a characteristic that a startup founder must have. I think you just name it.
Yeah.
I think you just did.
Tenacity.
Yeah.
Tenacity.
Yeah.
It's a marathon.
Yeah.
Your first, whatever you have to establish, unless the lucky few that get picked up straight away, but even they have to go through growing pains and have personal and interpersonal conflicts with maybe co-founders that they started as friends and they had to end as in a not so friendly way, or so tenacity and determination.
Yeah.
I think those qualities are needed if you want to have some sort of success.
Yeah. Wow. I'm inspired now. I feel like I should, I should I should just hand in my resume, hand in my resignation tomorrow, and then just, tomorrow is Monday. So, wow. Move.
Well, I just hired a young assistant last week.
Uh-oh.
Who quit her job the next day after I met her and offered her to come to work for me. I hope she doesn't regret it. But...
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. She won't. So let's talk about SAP Weekend. So, what was your first experience with SAP Weekend?
Well, I think it was a very special one now because everyone is having to adapt to the current times.
Yeah.
The fact that we cannot meet each other in person.
Yeah.
Means that we have to if either we say, okay, well, we're just going to stop until we can continue doing things in the way that we were used to doing them, or we will adapt and do video weekends and conferences.
Yeah.
And it is different, you know. You don't have that human interaction, and you have to deal with technology that doesn't always work, and you don't convey the message in the same way, and the organizer will have to deal with a bunch of stuff that they just aren't used to dealing with.
Yeah, we didn't anticipate a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I felt that those growing pains were definitely there this weekend, and
Yeah.
there was a few things in the communication where and I know I'm being a little critical here, but for example the if you have people like mentors and stuff, they invest their time into a project, and then I felt that there was a few things in communication that weren't necessarily done in the same way that if you would meet up and have a...
It wasn't as clear and as concise as it needs to be. Yeah, it wasn't.
No, I felt that there were gaps in the communication.
Yeah, it wasn't clear. Yeah,
would have been solved by
in person. Yeah,
by just doing a few meetings.
Yeah,
which is what generally happens, and you do a few tests, and so. But I guess, if you want to learn from this, then that means that you have to just you have to prepare for a different scenario.
Yeah.
And all the interpersonal connections that we're missing now, all the slight touches on someone's shoulder, or the human proximity, we're losing some information in the communication.
Yeah.
And that has to be complemented.
Yeah, compromise. Yeah, as well.
Yeah. No, complemented.
Complemented. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's definitely different because everything in WeChat just doesn't work like that. Yeah, and also I feel like that. Yeah.
No one thought that we would have to switch to any of these platforms as a main way of doing things.
Yeah.
They were always a very good supportive way of working, and even evolved into something that was key or crucial in modern businesses, especially in startups. Like I designed the camera with people. I was in London, someone was in Portugal, someone was in Israel, someone was in China, and so that just would not be possible without all these technologies. So they're key, but I don't think anyone would have been able to foresee that they at some point had to take over from
using those platforms only. Yeah. So do you at least enjoy this time as a mentor?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I'm so afraid we made mistakes to the level where we. Yeah. Sorry.
No. And
sorry.
I do believe that if I could choose not to talk about like what bothered me for a second, but I also feel then it's not being talked about.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. I very much enjoy the mentoring process, and I've had a few good mentors that I owe a lot to, and if I can just make it a tiny change in someone's day or in someone's step towards their own project, then that's way outbalances some of the struggles that we have to.
Yeah, completely understand. Yeah. So you have listened to the pitch before the mentorship, and I think on yesterday, right? You listened to the pitch yesterday, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes.
And then you also listened to the improve the final pitch today, right? Tonight, did you?
Yeah. Wait. No. Sorry. Yesterday we did.
Or was it this morning that you listened to the pitch?
Yeah, yesterday I did a short mentor about UX UI design.
Yeah.
This morning was the first pitch.
Yeah. So before and after, how do you feel? Yeah.
Well, some teams, you know, it was a wide range of experience.
Yes.
Today I felt some teams were more routine pitchers, and then others were first-time pitchers.
Yeah.
So you can't compare them all, and the more you pitch, the better you get.
Yeah.
So there was improvements, and I think they took everything on board. And yeah, I didn't see any regression. I only saw progress.
That's good. That's what we're aiming for, because the whole thing is about an educational experience. Yeah, in terms of startup.
Yes, and I, from the feedback that I get from the teams that participated, they all took something away from it. So I think you add a lot of value to young entrepreneurs, whether it's for practice or really to find maybe an investor in the network or wherever it leads them.
Yeah, that's good. So you speak about before you said something like in China the younger generation would be more susceptible, more willing to have a startup, right? So what age do you think would be the best, like to have a startup, to start a startup? Should people try when they are young, or should they gain some working experience before they go into the market and try to start something?
I mean, okay, so there's two types of startups in my mind. You have the startup scene where you have like the rock and roll CEO, the rock and roll CEO, CFO, CTO.
Yeah.
and almost you go to the pitches and you do like and that's kind of like that's one part of startup culture, which is the scene itself. And then you have people that have an idea and they make a business out of it. That's also a startup, and you get the Jack Ma stories and some entrepreneurs that start at 50 or at 60. So those are like two different things, and so if you'd ask me, there is room in both for success, and I think the young culture, the startup scene, that's where you train, and then at that time you have the energy to do it again and again and again. Whereas if you're older, maybe you have to
family,
pick your battles, pick your battles, and work on experience. It's sports is a very good analogy for anything in the world. And if you look at sport, like old and young, like cyclists, for example, footballers, well, they apply different strategies to the game. An older professional sport player, they will be smarter, will play smarter, and the younger one will have more energy.
Yeah, that's very good. That's a very good analogy. That's excellent. Okay.
Yeah, sport always helps me when I don't see the light. I always try to read up on some of my heroes.
Yeah. You need to train for sports. You need to face defeat, and then you need to repeat, fail faster. Yeah. And
even to a point where a lot of sporters start get out of bed in the morning for a big game or a big milestone, and that day they feel like shit, and they're like, well, everything's all the training, and now I have or yesterday I have a fever or something. And then just at the point where they're almost about to give up, they push themselves just for a last time.
Persevere, yeah.
And they win. And those are more than common stories. You cannot imagine how many historical wins come out of the shittiest day that person has had in 9 months of preparation, for example.
Yeah. All right.
And that's inspiring because that you will have that as a founder, as a startup person.
Yeah.
The moment when you are about to give up, if you then push a little bit more, it might just be that little part that you needed. When everyone else gives up,
You don't. Yeah.
probably makes you
Yeah. This is quite an inspiring interview. This is excellent. Thank you so much, Laurence. Thank you.
You're very
Yeah. I think we are running out of questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will try to edit the video by tonight and I'll upload on YouTube and make an introduction and everything. Yeah. So thanks, man. Yeah.
It was my pleasure. And again, congrats on a tough challenge to go from how you usually do Startup Weekend to this first online edition.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. Okay, that's it. I will cut the scene. Okay.
Have a very good
Okay. Stay in touch. Bye.